Hello and welcome to this video where we'll go into installing DuckDB and installing DBeaver. So these are tools that will be used for the database. So before we worked with the front end, and now we will connect with the database so that we can store our data there. And for that tool, we chose DuckDB, which is really simple to get started with. And it's an OLAP database, it's called. So online analytical processing database, which is very useful when we're dealing with analytics, which we'll be using it for, in contrast to OLTP databases. So in DuckDB, we'll be using SQL, which you're probably familiar with. So what we're gonna do is some simple repetition only in SQL. So jumping into the browser. So here you can just Google DuckDB and you can go into here and there's an installation here. So choose your platform and install it. And after you have installed DuckDB, you will be able to open the terminal. So let's change to like this, terminal. And in the terminal, then you can write DuckDB and you will get into DuckDB. So basically, if you get this to work, open up the terminal and type in DuckDB, then it works. So to exit it, Control D. Also you can do DuckDB -- version to check the version. And also if this works, it works. And after you have set up DuckDB, you can go into search for DBeaver. We will need this tool as well. So DBeaver community. So then we will download DBeaver. So this is on choose the community, and you can choose for your operating system. So this tool is an IDE for the database. So we will use DBeaver to connect to DuckDB so that we don't need to work with the terminal in DuckDB, which we could do, but using an IDE we get the better overview. So take some time and install this. Okay, so now that you have installed DBeaver and DuckDB, let's move on to Visual Studio Code. So in Visual Studio Code, I will open the terminal. So I'm inside of a folder called DuckDB Intro. You probably have 07 DuckDB Intro, but it doesn't matter. So in this folder, I will create a DuckDB database. So then I just type in DuckDB in the terminal. And I choose the name of the database. So fastdb.db. So like this, then we have created a database. However, it hasn't been saved anywhere yet. So basically to do that, we just need to run a command and it will save the database to the file system. So let's do that. We just write desc, which means describe. So here, we describe this database. Right now we don't have anything, but it has stored our database, right? And from here we can also do like select star from. This is a meta. So this is I want to select from information schema, and in this it's a schema where we have the metadata. So information schema.schemata. Here we see all the schemas, and I can use this to explain how the database works as well. So here we have several catalogs. We have fastdb, and then we have system, and we have temp. The only thing that you need to be worried about is the fastdb. And in this, there's an information schema, and in the information schema, there's metadata. And then there's a PG catalog, which is other type of metadata, which you don't need to care about either for now. Main is the schema where you can store tables. So, however, we will create our own schemas later to organize our data. So then usually you have a database, and inside the database you have several schemas. And inside each schema, you have several tables and views. So this is the hierarchy of the database. And the database here, compared to other, that you have server, for example, local host, or you host it in another server. Here, DuckDB is a file-based database. So you have a file here saved. And you can access this by opening it, writing DuckDB, and then the database name. So for now, I won't do anything more in this terminal. However, I will close it down, Control V. So now I'm outside. I have no connection to this database anymore. So let's move on to DBeaver. Let's see here. Now I'm inside of DBeaver, and in DBeaver we can do like this. So at the beginning you don't have this, I think. This is because I have played around with it a little bit. However, I will do File, Open Project from File System. So then we import the source. So we click on Directory, and basically I choose the demos, I choose DuckDB intro, and I choose this folder. So this means that I want this folder to become a DBeaver project, basically. So I'm importing this folder. So open, and then finish here. So then we get this DuckDB intro folder here, right, in the projects. And also, if you don't see the projects, you should click on Window, and you should tick this project here. So then if I check into DuckDB intro, we see here several different things. One of them is connections. So here we don't have any connections yet. This means that this project is not connected to any database. So what we do here is that we click on this button, New Database Connection, click on this. And in DBeaver, you can choose several databases to connect to, like you see a lot of them. However, DuckDB is our choice. So choose DuckDB, and the path, let's open here, and we choose fastdb.db. This is the one that we created using the terminal before. So here we have the path to that database. And we finish here. Then we have connection. You can see we have fastdb.db here. So basically I can click here, and we see that here are the databases, or the catalog names, basically. You saw that when we did select from the information schema, that's schemata. So here, fastdb, you see information schema, you see the main, and you see PG catalog, right? So, and in main, you can see table and views, and a lot of other database objects. So this is the hierarchy. You see, you have database, you have schemas, and you have tables and views, and other database objects, of course. Here you have PG catalog, etc. So here we will create more schemas in later videos. So now we have a connection. So let's create a script and start doing some SQL. So basically, you see in the scripts here, we don't have any scripts. So let's do like this. SQL editor, new SQL script. So then we see that we have a script here. And we see that the script is connected to fastdb.db. So I do F2, fn F2, or I have to click here, fn F2 to change the name. So what name do I want? Well, I want it to be called, let's see what I have called it before. Insert values.sql. So basically I will insert some values. So I will save this one. And I will insert. So insert, or I have to create the, before I insert, I need to actually create the, I need to create a table. So let's do that. We can actually use the same script, or we could divide into several scripts, but I use the same script. Create table, jokes. Okay, what do I want the jokes to contain? Or I can actually do it like this. I will show you auto formatting soon. So I don't need to format it manually. ID, I want it to have ID as integer, and this is my primary key. And then I want to have a joke text. So this is basically columns, right? So I declare, like here, the ID column is integer and primary key. The joke text is a varchar. So it's basically a string, and we have rating as an integer. And then semicolon. So Control-Shift-F, even if you're in Mac, you do Control-Shift-F. So then it does the formatting for us. However, I didn't like the formatting, but okay, yeah, it's kind of okay for me. Yeah, let's be okay with this. Oh, okay, the formatting is not super good, but you see what happens. Okay, no matter, let's run this, Control F. So it says updated rows -1. It has created this table, and in order to show this, we go into C. So let's do desc describe, and when we describe this, we see here first DB in main. So the describe, it describes the database. So in the first DB we have a main schema, and inside of this main schema we have the jokes table, right? And inside this jokes table we have column names ID, which is of integer. So column names, let's see. Yeah, we have 3 items here. We can check this out. So we have ID, integer, joke text, varchar, and rating integer. So this is quite neat. In DBeaver we have a quite nice IDE in order to understand our database. You could do everything in the terminal, but in DuckDB CLI, but that is a little bit more hardcore. Actually, I really like using DBeaver to have an overview. So here we have created this table. Let's continue now. So remember, it lives in the main schema. So that means we can use main.jokes and select from this. So let's continue. Let's insert some value. Insert into jokes, into main.jokes actually, because it's in the main schema. What do I want to insert? Well, ID, joke text, I want to insert the rating, and the values I want to have here. So basically here 1 is the first ID, and then the second one is the joke text, and then the third one is the rating, right? So I will just copy the joke text. You don't need to see me type it out. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Great joke. So let's continue. I will insert some more values, and here I just copy from the lecture notes, so you can copy it as well. So I added a few more jokes and added some ratings for them. let's do I did the control shift F to auto format it, and it became like this. Quite ugly, but it works. So doing this now, let's do control F, and no, not control F, control enter. So I've inserted these values. Now we can check it out. So let's do like this. Select star from jokes. This, and we can see here we have our jokes. How come it worked without doing main.jokes? Yeah, because we're in by default we're inside the main schema. So we can see here we have 4 jokes and we have the ratings of it. And basically from here you can select, for example, all the, you could do like this, select star from jokes. I only want the good jokes. So jokes from jokes where rating is larger than 6, for example. So here we filtered out, we only got the jokes which are good. Yes, great. So then we have inserted some values, and let's do like this. We can actually describe now jokes and see what it says. Well, when we describe it, we see the column name and we see the integer types and if they are null or not, and if they're primary key. So that was quite funny. Let's insert some more jokes. So I copied this from my lecture notes and run this. So now I inserted some more jokes, and let's delete some jokes as well. So let's do like this. SQL editor, new SQL script. Here we have scripts, right? I will change the name of it, so F1, F2, or you can right click and rename. So I will call it delete jokes. Like this. So you see that it is connected, this one is connected to the first db.db. So let's select first, select star from jokes, like this. And we can see that we have 1 to 10. So we have a lot of jokes, and we have some jokes that are really bad. So just filter out, like we do select star from jokes where rating is larger than 5, for example. We only want the good jokes, so we will remove the 2 last one here. So here we have only selected the good ones, but actually we want to delete, right? So we want to remove the bad jokes. So then like it's good practice to select it first so you know which jokes you have, right? And then basically you do like this. We can think of this like this. We go in other direction. So we choose the jokes which are less than 5. Or actually, because I had larger than 5 before, I should have less than equal 5 to be more precise. However, this is I want to have the jokes that are lower than 5. So I see that, yeah, there are 2 here. 2 jokes that are worse than 5 in rating. So 1 and 2. So we know that these are the rows that we want to delete. Then basically I copy this one and save it or paste it. And instead of doing select star, I will just do delete here. Delete from jokes where rating larger less than 5. So I run this one, And then if I run this one again, I see nothing. And if I run this one, we only have 8 jokes, right? So it worked with the delete. You can use update. You can update a joke and you can insert a joke. You can select from a joke. You can delete from joke. So these are the CRUD operations. Create, read, update, delete. Or CRUD, you can create tables as well. So we created a table and we read from it using select, right? So here you have some basic knowledge of how a database works. We have set up all of them. I'm going to save. I want to go back to Visual Studio Code actually to show you. So in Visual Studio Code, because we connected it, right, from DBeaver, we see that we have gotten a few files here. So first we have this firstdb.db, and this is just the database that we created. And then we have this firstdb.db.val, and so this is a file, a temporary file from DuckDB, which is generated when we are working inside of DuckDB, which we are doing because we have connection in DBeaver. So what we do is that this it doesn't matter. But we don't want it to go into our version control. So basically what I do is that right now I don't have this in version control, so I don't have Git in this folder, but for you that have it, which you should have, I'll just show you what you should type. Touch and dot git ignore. So you don't need to do this if you already have a git ignore file. But if you don't have a git ignore file, you must have it. Otherwise, some trash files will go into your version control, which you don't want. So basically, in git ignore, first do like this: star.val. So we want to ignore all the val files. So these are the DuckDB that we want to ignore. And then we want to ignore the things that are corresponding to DBeaver. So basically in DBeaver, let's do like this. Then we have .project. We don't want it to be version controlled. And scripts, we actually want to be version controlled because here are the SQL scripts that we created in DuckDB. And .dbeaver, here are some metadata which we don't want. So .dbeaver. So basically like this. We don't want DBeaver and we don't want .project. So we add them to git ignore. So these are just files that DBeaver created. But the scripts we want. So here we can see delete jokes. This is exactly what I wrote before. And here we see insert values. These are exactly what I wrote before as well in DBeaver. Yes, and with this I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have understood the basics of DuckDB and DBeaver. Thank you, bye.